everybody, how's it going? So we're back on the desk. We're checking out some more 500 series gear. This time we've got a couple of units from one of my absolute favorite gear manufacturers out there, and that is IGS out of Poland. Been a big fan of the brand for a few years now. I mean, I've had the Ultra 500 in my rack for I don't know how long. I've got the Panzer 500 way over there that I use for all my APIs and a lot of my preamps and whatnot right now. It's been absolutely stellar and it's ran flawlessly for years. I mean, like zero glitches whatsoever. Yeah, the IGS stuff is really tough to beat. And today we're looking at another couple of really solid pieces of gear. We're looking at the IQ505 EQ and the 576 Blue Stripe Compressor. This is a 5-band EQ with switchable shelves and peaks at either end, at the bass end, at the treble end. And the 576 Blue Stripe is basically pretty much what you're thinking. It's an 1176 Blue Stripe in 500 series format. I don't know how the hell IGS managed to get that kind of awesomeness shoved down into 500 series, but you know what? I think they're doing a pretty damn good job at it. IGS, it stands for Igor something or other. This is Igor's company. I've met him a couple times. Really awesome dude. But honestly, I think IGS should change their name to Incredibly Great Stuff, because it really is. Okay, let's take a listen here. This is a snare drum I'm working on for an upcoming mix. I don't know if this is out yet or not, but let's take a listen. Okay, just a raw snare. And we can throw on an EQ. And it's pretty sweet. Now, let me just take you through the EQ. Here's our boost and cut right here. And we've got dual concentric rings. The middle one changes your bandwidth, whether it's narrow or it's wide. And then the other ring selects the frequency. So basically what I like to do is just crank the living piss out of something and go narrow and then find the right frequency, broaden it, and then make my adjustment from there. That's how I'm doing it anyway. So we're going to crank that way up, go narrow here, find the air on the snare here. Yeah, that's about 13 kilohertz. Like this thing goes all the way up to 24 kilohertz. So if you want to do a shelf kind of thing and get kind of a Pultec style EQ going on, you can definitely do that. You can go way, way, way up. But like in the air right there, broaden that out a little bit. Maybe bring that back a touch. Same thing with the bottom end. Let's crank that. Find the thump frequency of the snare. Okay, I think green means peak. So what I'm trying to do is just trying to find the bottom frequency of the snare here. I've got it at the narrowest band, and then I'm going to broaden it and then adjust according to taste. So I'm just looking for a hum here. Looks to be about there. We'll broaden that out. Bring the thump down a bit. Bring the mid-range, zero that out. And we're going to look at the 400 frequency. This is where I got it set. We're going to go narrow, boost it, find a horrible frequency here. Right around 400 hertz, yeah. And then crank that down a bit. And broaden it out. Wow. And maybe a little bit of crack up here. Let's crank that up. Find the smack frequency. Broaden that out. Maybe not so pronounced. Maybe a bit more air up here. That's pretty cool right there. And mind you, I've got a top mic and a bottom mic going on here. These are going to a single fader. So there's our top mic. There's our bottom mic. Combine them, and we get that. That sounded pretty good. We don't even have the compressor in yet. We throw that in. This is where it gets fun. I mean, yeah, here we go. 1176 on a snare. Oh, who'd have thunk it? You know what I mean? But let's take a listen. Let's just crank it in. That might be a little much. Let's zero this out a little bit. So we got input and output, and that's basically your threshold, your output, attack release, and then ratio. I want to hit this snare pretty hard. Now, I'll remind you, This will do the 1176 all buttons in trick, which would be amazing for a drum room. If I had a pair of these, I don't know, maybe if I'm good, Santa's going to bring me another one of these for Christmas. We'll see. Let's take that to 20 to 1 anyway. I just want to hear the attack going on the snare. So I'm going to crank the attack over and the release. Just remember, you point things that way to speed things up, go this way to slow them down. So we're going to go fast attack, slower release, because I want to hear the initial attack of the snare. I'm going to hit it hard. That's pretty cool right there. We're just going to open the attack up now. Oh, I forgot to mention, the controls here are actually detented, so you can feel for exactly what's going on. So if you do get a second one of these, doing stereo pairs should not be an issue whatsoever. They're really easy to copy. You just kind of feel how many notches you are at whatever setting you're at, and you're good to go. I like that. It's very smacky right there. So if we play with the release, this is going to give us more of the bottom snares on the sustain. Not sure about that. Maybe pull that back a bit. And then bring the input down a little bit. We don't need to hit it that hard. Maybe the ratio back now. There we go. That's off. That's pretty cool. I'm going to keep it at 12 to 1. Let's see how that works. Now I like a little ultra maximizer on this just to kind of smooth the top out a tiny bit. And we're going to send that off to the reverb. And we got a shotgun. Check this out. Maybe a little more reverb. Love that release knob. It basically becomes a bottom snare mic knob. You can just twist that in and get exactly how much you want. That's super cool. All of this is possible thanks to the Cranbourne 500 ADAT. I'm actually using this as a digital connection. I'm almost using these 500 series rack units as plugins because I'm going through the RIA insert. It's hitting this. And the switch here allows me to combine these two channels together. And I could make a giant channel strip out of this if I wanted. And then it just goes back into the computer via ADAT in real time. And I don't have to worry about latency or anything like that. This is just great. Turn that off. Raw snare. Or unaffected snare. Be a little much on the bottom snare. Okay, that's all in. That's much. That's 20 to 1. Maybe take the bottom snare down just a touch. A little less drum reverb. I'm liking the sound of that a lot. That's not bad. I'm really digging that, to be honest with you. Maybe take the top end back a tiny, tiny bit. Now, that's the thing I got to stress here. If this is one thing I've learned from hanging out with Warren Hewitt over the last few years is don't pay attention to what they told you in recording school. You got to be real, sparing with how much you dial stuff in. No. Hit it hard. Hit those EQs and compressors as hard as you possibly can just to hear what goes on. You can always turn it down after the fact, but find out what it's capable of doing. And then if you don't like it, you can adjust otherwise. That's cool right there. I took the second band down, which was about 4 kilohertz. Might be a little too much, a little papery there. Take that out. Yeah, we need that 4K, but just not up that high. A little more air, a little more bottom. That's cool. Very 80s. Back before we put drum samples on everything. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm sorry, I still like those big 80s reverby snares kind of thing. Pull that back a touch. That's great. Okay, so that's, that didn't take too long at all to dial that in. The great thing is, you just grab your phone, take a picture of the settings, and you're good to go. Now, I've got my typical... On the snare here, I'm going to go over to use this channel strip on the bass guitar and show you what's going on there. It's pretty cool as well. So I've gone back to my original AIX stuff. And that's got a completely different vibe. Mind you, I haven't finished this mix. This is something going on to another demo for Soldano. So I'm not sure what I'm doing yet with this mix. I just kind of had a template in place. Obviously, those EQs and compressor plugins have to be tweaked a little bit, but I am really liking the results I'm getting with this IGS EQ and compressor. Like, holy crap. Anyway, let's see what goes on bass guitar here. So on bass, we've got Parallax, which is kind of my go-to plugin for bass guitar. It's just freaking amazing. It's never let me down yet. And here's my RIA insert. And we don't need a whole lot of EQ because the EQ is pretty much already done on Parallax. So I'm just going to kind of try and bring out some of the mid-range on the bass guitar here and make sure I'm using the right knobs. And again, it's like, okay, these two are connected, these two, like that, not this way, okay? So it's kind of like, that's the angle, not that way. So just remember that, because I just spent the last 3 minutes scratching my head. Why the hell are these things doing anything? Yeah, it's like, try the right ones, dumbass. Anyway, let's see if we can just bring the mids out on this just a tiny bit more. So we're going to go with the mid-range band, crank that up, and we're going to just we're around 2 kilohertz. We're going to broaden that out. Wide boost, narrow cut maybe. That really brings out some grime, doesn't it? Let's try maybe it up a little higher. Yeah, it seems to be right where the clank is. So again, we'll broaden that out a bit. Bring that back a bit. Here's our raw sound. There we go. That's cool. Okay. Put that EQ in, maybe a bit more of a boost. Now let's compress it. We don't need a lot here. I'm going to set this for reasonable. Bring the ratio back. 4:1 sounds okay. Let's bring the output up. And just play with the attack and release. So you can go faster release if you want. Slower attack, let that clank through. Now if we take that out, holy crap. That really adds some spank and some bite on that bass guitar. Let's hear that in the mix. That might be cool. Now there's There's some real definition, that's for sure. If we take that out, that's just parallax there. Kind of getting into Steve Harris territory there. I like it. Maybe throw a bit of bottom on this. Broaden that out a little bit. Bring that down a bit. EQ off. On. EQ compressor off. And on again. Wow! That's super cool. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know, it's like I get lucky with the bass stuff as of recent. You know, I was pretty impressed with the Alcatron, but the IGS, EQ, and compressor, holy crap, that's super impressive. All right, so that is the IGS IQ505 and 576 Blue Stripe. If you're into 500 series gear like I am, I would definitely recommend checking out the IGS stuff. You really can't find better no matter what the price, in my opinion. This stuff is just absolutely immaculate, and it's built solid. It's definitely going to last your entire life. So it's one of those things that's not going to be outdated by new versions. It's like, get this, it's going to work. Now, I'm going to have some upcoming videos where I shoot out analog compressors versus plugins, just in terms of a mix process and how much of a difference that makes. So if you want to get notified about that, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell. That way you'll find out about it when it does come out, because I guarantee if you're kind of scratching your head about mixing in the box versus out of the box, this is definitely a video you don't want to miss. Anyway, you can find IGS online at Vintage King and Thomann, not to mention the IGS website. I'll have some links in the description below. Anyway, you can find IGS online at Thomann, their own website, and Vintage King as well. I'll have some links in the description below. I've been using the Alter 500 and the Panzer 500 for years. Their stuff is just utterly stellar. You really can't go wrong. And I'm really grateful that I've now got the 505 and the 576 Blue Stripe in my rack as well, because I can see myself reaching for these on a lot of mixes in the near future. So thanks very much to IGS for making this video possible. Yes, I do get to keep this gear, but it's like, yeah, it's not like they have to twist my arm to get me to say it sounds good, because holy crap, does it ever. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I hope to see you guys next time. Take care.